Okay, you want me to go first? Okay. All right.
Good morning, y'all.
I'm down.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Reverend Kaya Hogwood. I'm so glad to see you. I am not working today, but we're going to sing a song before that, and it's 128 in the Great Hymnal, For All That Is Our Life.
I was touching the mic. All right.
For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good, and make our own days glad. For need which others serve, for services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks, for all that is our life. For sorrow we must bear, for failure, pain, and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks, for all that is our life. For all that is our life, we sing our thanks and praise. For all life is a gift, which we are called to use, to build a common good, and make our own days glad.
Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, UUCBV, or Brazos UU for short. My name is John Ivy, and I'll be your worship assistant for today. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities. We also strive to welcome people across diversities of race, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We're also a congregation working for reproductive justice. So whoever you are, wherever you come from, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here. We have 3 short announcements to share with you. Next Sunday, June 26th, we will have no in-person service. We'll instead be streaming and watching the UUA General Assembly at 11:30, 1 hour later than we usually gather. Wednesday, June 22nd, that's coming up in 4 days from now, 3 days from now, we'll have an afternoon at the pool. All ages are welcome. We'll be meeting in front of the Bryan Aquatic Center at 1 p.m. Be sure to bring your water, drinking water, sunscreen, and a towel. Please RSVP to Allison for a head count. And on the morning of Friday, July the 1st, we'll be touring Texas U.S. farms in Iowa. There you'll get a tour of an aquaponics farm that is sustainably raising produce and fish. All ages are welcome. Alice needs a head count of participants by June the 20th. That is tomorrow. So if you haven't, let her know that you'll be joining in, please do so.
Our call to worship today is called Empowering the Fathers of This World. Today is Father's Day, a day in which we honor and offer gratitude for our fathers in whatever form or fashion they come into our lives. Biological fathers, stepfathers, adoptive and foster fathers, grandfathers, spiritual fathers, and all of the uncles, brothers, and friends who, whether they know it or not, have helped to fill the role of father in someone's life. We are shaped by their presence and their absence, by how they choose to act and when they choose to abstain, what they say and when they remain silent. Let us remember today and always the impact that these people have had on us as individuals and as a community. And let us also remember that this relationship is not one-sided and that we, as a community, are called to support and empower the fathers of this world, no matter how they came into their roles and regardless of their relative successes or failures. Let us raise them up for their triumphs and let us have grace to forgive them for their human failures. Let us love our fathers and each other. Come, let us worship together. By Lorraine Badarach.
Now, please join me as we say our chalice lighting words together. Those words should appear on the screen. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. Now we'll say our affirmation together. Please join me. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth of love, and to help one another.
So, this is a round and it's got some cool parts. So I thought I would teach it to you. It goes, where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Okay, that's the first part. Want to try that? I'll give you some beat. Where do we come from? Who are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? How you feel about that? Everybody good? Okay. The next part goes, mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Want to try that part? Mystery, mystery. Life is a riddle and a mystery. Now you want to try it two-part. So you guys, where do you come from? Okay? What are we? Where are we going? So we'll get going on that, and then I'll sing with you. So don't watch me after you get going, okay? Okay. Where do we come from? What are we? Where are we going? Where do we come from?
sounded awesome. I have a reading for you today. It's called Dad Jokes. One of the advantages of being a father and a grandfather is something done on my family's behalf to teach my children and grandchildren how to have fun, how to smile, how to laugh. I take this responsibility seriously, using humor to give my children and grandchildren a lift. No need to thank me, family. Consider it my gift. Through the years, my jokes have been so good, I've repeated them like clones. Occasionally, they're met with laughter. More often, they're met with groans. Groans in the beginning, but of this I am proud. Someday, when they get older, I'm sure they'll laugh out loud. My granddaughter calls them dad jokes, and they're usually met with, oh, pop, pop, dad jokes instead of bad jokes, as if that will ever make me stop. What time did the man go to the dentist, I ask, as unsuspecting Ava wonders why. And she shakes her head and grimaces when 2:30, I reply. Dad jokes, I can live with that label, if it makes my humor all the more bearable. Have you heard the joke about a piece of paper? I ask her. Never mind, you'll only think it's terrible. How am I doing, Ava? I ask. Stop me if you've heard these before. Pop, pop, please, Ava pleads, holding her hands over her ears. I can't take this anymore. But I am unperturbed, knowing if this joke doesn't make her laugh or give her a little thrill, I'm sure the next one, or the next one, or perhaps the next one will. Why can't you hear a pterodactyl go to the bathroom, I ask. Oh, Ava, this is a funny one, you'll see. Because as everyone knows, I say, pterodactyl has a silent P. Wait! Hiding there behind that groan, was that a smile I did see? As a lifelong teller of dad jokes, that's good enough for me. Yes, I take this responsibility seriously. My mission is not only to make her smile, not only to teach her about humor, but to do so with some style. And that's by Jim Fuhrman.
Thank you, Allison. I've got a dad joke a day calendar this year. But I won't bring out the groans by telling the end of this. We take this moment now to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. Please remember that our services are recorded and available publicly, so don't reveal anything you want to hold privately to yourselves. I'm going to light a candle for myself. Those of you who know me may know that I've been going to contra dances since I was in my mid-20s. It's been a long time. And I got interested in traditional music at that time. I started playing tunes, I started playing for dances, and I got to be down in Houston last night playing for a dance again. It started back up.
Good news, we bought a house. Very exciting. It's on 31st Street, and it has a really big area in the back, so if we want to have a community garden, we can have that there. It's 1/3 of an acre. So, thank you.
I have a joy that my sister Monica and her partner Cynthia got engaged in Italy this week. And then I'm concerned my friend Sarah is really going through a hard time, so please keep her in your
a joy to give to my husband Val with his terrible dad joke this morning. I have a cleaner for my pool, and I said I have to charge it. And he said, "Didn't you do that already?" And I said, "No, I did. I just got it. I didn't charge it." "Well, did you pay by cash?"
I have a joy, and that is my dad, John Faber. I have a joy, my dad. Sometimes on Father's Day, he has really good dad jokes for us.
If there are no more joys and concerns, we'll now have a moment of silence for reflection and prayer.
I don't set up the equipment if you can't tell. Thanks. Thanks, y'all. Did you know that anybody can be a little bit of a dad? What? In fact, there is a quiz that was posted on Facebook by many of people that we know, including our former Reverend Schmidt. And it was a quiz to see how much of a dad you are. So I'm going to read you some things that dads say, and in the scenario that they say them. You can also see it on the screen if you can read that part. And you just kind of keep a mental checklist, and then at the end we'll see, how much of a dad are you? When a cashier has trouble scanning an item, guess it's free then. After pointing a stud finder at your own chest, found it. When a kid has a minor injury, looks like we'll have to amputate. When it's time to leave, let's rock and roll. When a kid takes too long in the bathroom, did you fall in? When somebody mistakes left for right, no, your other right. Before looking at the bill in a restaurant, what's the damage? When seeing a neighbor washing their car, can you do mine next? After falling asleep on the couch, I was just resting my eyes. When seeing a friend in public, guess they'll let anyone in here. When seeing traffic on the other side of the road, glad we're not going that way. After forgetting your keys, well, can't get very far without these. When driving past horses, look, horses. When the door is open, I'm not paying to heat the whole neighborhood. When carrying something heavy, it's not heavy, it's just awkward. In every single town you're in, people don't know how to drive in this town. Every time it rains, we needed this rain. After declining additional warranty protection, that's how they get you. When somebody comes back inside because they forgot something, back already? How was it? and after tying something down, that's not going anywhere. So let's see, results. How many people got maybe 10 or more? There's 20. 10 or more. Yep. A little bit, yep. Dina, you got? Some of you might have gotten all of these, and some of you might have gotten one or two. But it's kind of a fun quiz, and it reminds us that no matter who you are, you might have a little bit of dad energy inside of you.
If you haven't realized, today is Father's Day, and we're going to share a few homilies with you. And Joe will begin. Joe, our own Joe Daigle.
Is this mic okay? So I'm Joe Daigle, and they asked me to do this. We talked about this, Kai and I talked about this, before the wedding, which was last Saturday. We talked about this before the honeymoon, which was all last week. And so this morning, I collected my thoughts that I had been thinking, but had written nothing down. And I'm never that unprepared for anything in life. If you know me, this is like not me. But I did want to share a few things. And I want to start by just saying, first of all, you've heard it, I don't know how many times today, but Happy Father's Day. And just like all holidays, this one is complicated too. As far as I can figure though, it's a day to celebrate the paternal side of a parenting relationship. Okay, let me go through that again. The paternal side of a parenting relationship. Okay. I still have two living fathers. I have a biological father named Mike and a stepfather named Lloyd. So I immediately think of them as who I should celebrate today. They're alive, they're here, I can celebrate them. I got two amazing daughters right here, and as you know, they're with me all the time, or not with me all the time, but at church you always see them with me, and I love them dearly, and they like to celebrate me today, which is pretty cool. But it's so much more complicated for many. So I thought before I would begin with what I feel like it means to me to be a father and the importance of it, I wanted to say Happy Father's Day to all the pops, the poppies, the grandpas, the paws, the papas, the pappies, the padres, and the dads. But for some people, these labels aren't sufficient either. So Happy Father's Day to the Ernies, to the Alberts, the Johns, and the Janes. Happy Father's Day to everyone who's on the paternal side of a relationship with someone. But wait a minute, I'm not even sure what that means. Because dividing us into two sides of a sexual identity coin doesn't really express every parental relationship, and certainly not a maternal-paternal. It gets complicated. It's not as easy as that. Some of us don't have fathers in their lives at all, and some do. Some are really missing their dads today, and some never even knew theirs or don't want to. So today's really complicated, but Happy Father's Day anyway, because it's a day to celebrate. So my parents divorced when I was 3 years old, so my relationship with my biological father began very differently than many relationships. My stepfather came into the picture when I was 5, and although I did see my father every year, often a few weeks during the summer or occasionally at Christmas, Lloyd was my everyday dad. And we did live in Baton Rouge for some time, which is where I'm from and where my family's from, and I was able to visit my father's father, Vernon, who was my grandfather, of course, and it really helped me a lot more than he knows, although he was a very different kind of dad. But what I can say is that each one of these relationships, and I've only named a few of them, every single one of them have shaped who I am to these guys right here. And I never got to know my mom's father. He died when she was young. And so I never got to know him, but he ended up even teaching me some things through the stories that my mom told about him. And to me, this is what we do. We hope to help our kids learn something about being good humans. I am so thankful for all the lessons that have guided me to where I am, and I just hope that I can help my kids to find a good path. The most amazing thing about being a father or becoming a father for me, though, was realizing that my quest for self-growth and learning had been nothing in comparison to what was about to come. I knew I wanted to be the best possible father for my future child, so I started, that would be Allie. So I started working on myself harder than ever. Not physically, but emotionally and mentally. I tried to ready myself for being a caretaker and an example to another living being. Wow. Responsibility. But children are often mirrors to their parents, and I wanted to be proud of what I saw in my child's eyes. I wanted them to know that I love them and not have any question of that. So it was intense. I was like, oh man, this is serious. And I took it very seriously. I went to counseling, I read books, I meditated, and I talked to other dads. And that was an important part because they've done it before, right? I'm like, okay, help, please help, right? And the best advice I ever got was from a dad of twins, and it was before Allie was born. And he told me that the only way to survive having babies, remember he had 2 of them at the same time, is to keep telling yourself over and over and over again, sleep is for the weak. Sleep is for the weak. And he was so right. I mean, that got me through the first few months, which is, as you know, are tough. They're really tough. But it did. And like I said, he wasn't wrong. But now, Allie's almost 10. And her younger sister, Cora's almost 7. And they're only with their dad every other week. So they're growing up in a completely different way and different relationships than I did or than you did or than any of us did, really, because it's only their relationship. So what I hope for them is that I can give them what they need from me and that I can still provide the support and love that will help them to find a good path in life. But that is what I think being a father is. No matter the labels and how you fit into your particular relationships, that right there. It's finding a way to work through our challenges in the best way we can to help our children to grow. So that's what it looks like to me. That's what I know. And it's only my perspective on the matter. So I know it doesn't apply to all the dads out there or types of dads out there. But that's okay too. Happy Father's Day.
Thank you, Joe. We now get to hear from Matt Fuhrman, his experience as a dad and as a son.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Matt Fuhrman. Lauren's my wife, and we have 3 kids, Kate, who's 10, Adrian, who's 7, and Holden's, who's 3. When Kaya asked me to speak today, I was really honored and excited because being a dad is one of the great honors of my life. And so I'm happy to share some thoughts about what it means to be a dad. They say that you don't get to choose your parents, and that's true. But you also don't get to choose your kids. And I feel so lucky to have the 3 kids that I have, and I tell them that all the time, and they get really embarrassed and awkward. But it's true. I feel lucky and honored to be able to call myself their dad. I thought I'd take a little bit of time to talk about, from my experience, what it means to me personally to be a dad. And one of the great things about being a father is that your kids really know how to cheer you up. I remember when I was a kid, my sister and I, when my dad got home from work, would sprint up to him as soon as he entered the door and jump in his arms. And my kids never knew that I did that to my dad, but they do that to me, and they did that especially when they were younger. I could have a terrible day at work, and I often did, and come home, but they didn't care about any of that. They were just happy to see me. And so seeing them smile often would wipe away anything bad that happened in my day. Having kids is also great for a dad because you have playmates. You know, a lot of dads like me are still kids at heart, and there's things we want to do that wouldn't be socially acceptable, but if we have kids, we can do them and it's okay. For example, a couple of weeks ago, we set up a slip and slide in our backyard. And there was a discussion afterwards about which of us enjoyed it the most. And I think the general consensus was that it was me. I would never set that up just for myself, even though I might want to. But with the kids, I have a playmate for the kid in me. Another nice thing about being a dad is that your kids see you as a superhero. Eventually, when we get old enough, we realize that our parents are fallible and human just like everybody else. But maybe Kate, the 10-year-old, is getting to a point where she's realizing that I'm no longer a superhero. But when they're younger, they think that you can do anything and that you have all the answers. And it's a lot of pressure, but it's a great feeling as a father to have people who look at you that way. They're also refreshingly honest, and they'll tell you things that other people won't. I've been working on finishing up a book for a while now, and I tell my kids what the book's about. One day, my daughter Kate, the 10-year-old, wrote me a poem. And the poem was all about how the book I was writing was boring. And I posted this poem on Twitter, and it became my most viewed tweet ever. Almost 1 million people saw this poem. And I think it was because a lot of people agreed with her. My daughter Adrian, the 7-year-old, likes to tell me things like, "Dad, your teeth are getting kind of yellow." And I think, oh, maybe it's time to white my teeth. I should get on that. Holden, the 3-year-old, likes to announce publicly, "Dad, I have to go poop." And these are all refreshing moments for me in a world that's very serious and very dark at times. It's nice to have these lighthearted moments and experiences too. Now, of course, it's not all rosy being a dad. The kids fight sometimes. They don't always listen. Sometimes they'll run around screaming when you're trying to get their PJs on at night. But even in those moments, you still love them unconditionally. And that's the best part about being a dad. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. And you now get to hear from me. I'm a father too. You probably haven't seen my sons around. They are now 33 years old. We had fraternal twins. And looking back at developing the family, I never really thought that much about having children. I never was averse to having kids, but I was never eager to have kids. But when our 2 boys came along, and we weren't expecting 2 boys at first, and when we learned about that we were having 2 boys, it just brought a laughter of joy to me to know that we had two boys on the way. And when they arrived, I welcomed my role to have 2 sons in my life. Right after they were born, I was in the room where the nurses were cleaning them up, running tests on them, and they asked me, well, which name have you chosen? And I looked at them, I knew right away who would get which name, but I couldn't make that decision by myself. We had to bring them into my wife to look at them first. We brought the boys in, she looked at them, and we agreed. It was obvious who was getting the name Ian and who was getting the name David. And twins can initially make your life crazy. Needing to nurse 2 infants at the same time, I didn't have that issue presented to me much. Having to change the diapers of 2 infants, trying to keep, having to calm them down when they're upset or tired or hungry. It can drain your energy. But also having twins can be a blessing later on in life when they are going to be adolescents, going to the same be adolescents, going to the same softball practice, going to the same soccer game. We only had to go one place. We never had to go two places on the same day. So that was a great fortune that came to us by having twins. We also got to observe how different they could be. Even though they were born at the same time, they were being raised in the same development as much as possible. We saw distinct differences between them. One developed emotionally first. The other developed physically faster than the other. In fact, he was crawling when his brother was still creeping. He crawled up to his brother, lay down on top of him, and pinned him there. His brother couldn't get up. They also played collaboratively so well together. One of them would say, "And David, this truck will do this and that." And they would say, "Yeah, Ian." And then David would say, "Well, Ian, this truck would do this and that and the other thing." And he would say, "Yeah, David." And it was rare that they would fight together. They would often experience joy together, and that brought us a lot of joy. I was fortunate to have a father who was home most of the time, although he did have to work some evenings and work most Sundays, at least half the day. He was a builder of things. I didn't develop that trait. I became more a repairer of things. And I got my fair share of responsibilities around the house and the yard growing up. That trait came under me, and the boys got their fair share of responsibilities. But my dad also, and my mother too, let me make important decisions in my life. When I was in junior high school, the wrestling coach was giving a presentation and trying to recruit wrestlers onto the team. My father had been a wrestler growing up, maybe because he had 4 brothers to wrestle with. He took me along to that meeting, but I really didn't have an interest. I was interested in basketball. I was interested in running track and eventually cross country. And I told him I didn't want to go back. I wasn't interested in the wrestling team, and he did not push me. He just let me make that decision of what I wanted to do. When our boys were growing up, I was interested in them thinking about running track, since I had enjoyed running so much in my youth and young adult years. And I tried this. I suggested them to that they consider that, but no, they were interested in soccer and baseball originally, and that's what they pursued. And we didn't push them in that. That's something I thank my father and my mother for instilling in me, letting them make their own important decisions in life. Watching them grow, gradually mature, find life partners, and start a family of their own has been very gratifying for me, and has brought a lot of joy into my life to see their development and success. Along the way, I've been repeatedly reminded that nobody's perfect and that we have to make apologies. I've realized once they've grown, I made some mistakes I didn't recognize at the time. I apologize to them. And thankfully, they have forgiven me. And I thank my parents, my father, and my mother for being those role models from which I have learned. And now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope. for we are now the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. This month, we're proud to support the Pride Community Center. Please be as generous as you can. We give thanks for these gifts we have given, for those we receive, and to each other. May your generosity be returned to you tenfold.
We're going to sing number 1017 in the teal hymnal, which is kind of our theme this year.
Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again.
May love guide our way, and may light guide our path. We're going to sing something, and some of you have sung this before. It goes like this. It's very easy. Go